Welcome to the album segment of this week, and for this one, we didn't really do an album.
No.
We did an EP, which
EP,
is extended play.
Yeah.
Extended play. We did an EP for Hozier's new, somewhat new EP. That being
spicy. Yeah, spicy.
This is my choice. I know Thomas, you typically do the album choice, but
a little change up.
We decided to do a little change.
Yeah.
We want something a little shorter because we've been listening to like 3 weeks of just constant albums.
It's been long.
It's been a lot of music, so we want to kind of change it up, get something a little bit more shorter. You know, stuff like that.
Agreed.
And we decided to go with Hozier's EP, and I think
this
is kind of the best thing we've ever.
Honestly, folks at home, will let you guys know this definitely
it was so good. It was
by
so
far the most musically talented thing we've heard. On this podcast.
I mean, if you've seen the previous episodes, you'll know that the past 3 albums that we've done were a little spotty. You know, they were like there was some bad.
There was some bad.
In my opinion, at least, and I think you agree. This was just really there was nothing bad about it.
It was bare bones, classic, orchestral, huge chorus. Hozier.
It was so lovely. It was really nice because he's had songs that have come out sporadically over the past, I don't know, I want to say 5 years. I could be wrong.
Maybe I think you're right.
Where it's been like, he hasn't had a full-blown album in a little while.
Right. It's been some time.
The last one was Wasteland or whatever.
What was that, 4 years ago? Or sooner?
Maybe even 5.
4 or 5?
I want to say 2018. I could be wrong. Maybe 2017.
Yeah, because, oh my God.
So it's been a while since he's done an album. He's done a lot of, like, singles, but they haven't been amazing, in my opinion. Like,
no.
Again, we were talking about this in the car. Swan Upon Leda, whatever.
Yeah.
That one was okay. He did a song for God of War, which I thought was kind of cool.
I was just about to bring up, he's Ireland's Kratos.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
he's a big boy.
Yeah.
You know?
He did a song for God of War, and that was alright. But he hasn't had, like, a solid, like... set of music.
And he's got an album coming out right in August.
He's got an album coming out in August.
We'll review that, guys. Don't you worry. Don't you worry.
It's called Unearthed World or something like along those lines. Very excited. I'm seeing him in concert too. Also that. I'm seeing him in concert. Very excited.
We gotta boast a little bit.
A lot of Hozier in the area.
Hozier lore, if you will.
In the area right now.
Yeah.
Let's start talking about the EP because again, we both agreed it was pretty brilliant. We really enjoyed it.
Oh, he's just such a good singer.
And we want to go kind of song by song, maybe.
Yeah.
So we'll start with You're Young.
Yeah. I can't sing like that, but you know. Oh, just classic. Big chorus. I mean, it's catchy, but it's not cliche because Hozier does it his way.
Oh, absolutely.
And that rhymes, but he really does.
Very unique feel.
And I want to say about this song is it roped me right in, and he was kind of singing like kind of falsetto higher, I feel like, and I was very impressed because he's normally known as somebody who kind of in the depths,
a little bit deeper, slower. You know, but this one, what I thought was it was back to the basics, but also very new.
Yeah, bare bones, but
like. I feel like, in my opinion, again, it feels like one of his first songs, like one of the first songs he ever did before. But it's also like different in the sense that it's a little bit faster, and I think that could be said for most of this EP.
Probably the majority, right?
Yeah, because I think we were talking about this as well.
Slow build up, kind
of. Slow build ups.
Yeah, it's kind of a
specifically the one Through Me, or like the Flood, whatever it's called.
Dance Through Flood, whatever.
Build up. And then it kicked right in.
And you just went, wow!
That's
it just
so
blew
good.
you in your face. Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, he has like the longer drawn out notes, but they're in like a quicker time.
Yeah.
He does it in
Did he have any guest singers on that? I'm trying to think. Or was it just him?
I think it was just him, and he typically does have guest singers.
I don't know, unless he's just got like a spiritual gospel following him around, like
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, like
that's actually a good point. He released a different like version of this EP, or one of the songs. I think.
Sure.
You're Young, I think.
Yeah.
Where he had like a I think it was a chorus or something like that. I don't know exactly what it is. To do like their own like acapella version of the song.
Yeah.
You know, which I thought was very cool.
Yeah.
But for me, the original stuff that he actually did, like in this this original EP.
Yeah.
I just thought it was so good.
And there's nothing wrong with the man. I mean, how could you not love him?
Exactly.
Maybe we're a little biased, but
we are a little biased.
I mean, come on. Oh my.
It was really good.
Yeah. All across.
And then we haven't even started talking about All Things End. I don't know if you saw the music video.
No, I didn't. I did not.
There were some cool music videos. He did one for Eat Your Young, which was like he was dressed up as like a soldier, like a military soldier.
Really?
Saying goodbye to like his wife or something.
Oh my God.
He was also singing it.
That's kind of cool.
And then the other one was All Things End. And he he like died during a surgery, which was a little dark. But
Whoa.
I feel like Hozier's kind of known for some of the darker stuff.
Yes,
You know, like
I was gonna bring this up. Is it like a lot of his other music very cryptic?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of the
There's a
songs.
message there, but you gotta look for it.
Yeah, it's really cryptic.
Yeah.
I remember I first discovered that with "Take Me to Church" was a really cryptic song.
Very cryptic.
That was so dark, and that's what he does well.
Yeah, yeah.
Is the melancholy.
Agreed.
Melancholy, he hits it right on the melons.
Yeah,
You
right on the
know,
melons.
you know. So.
Yeah, I mean, he's always had like kind of that darker tone with
Yeah,
his music.
I agree.
And again, I just feel like in the more recent years and more recent music that he's had, that he's done, it hasn't been like it hasn't felt that way. Like it hasn't felt like that same dark.
No, it's just been like okay, but now
it's just been like, you know,
he's coming back.
everything's happy. It's like that's not Hozier. We need the darkness. We need the
vigilante Hozier.
Yeah, exactly. The subtle tones in there,
All right.
and like it's interesting because we're talking about how dark his music is at most occasions.
Right.
But he sings it in a way that like makes it feel more positive, if that makes sense. Like,
yes.
It's kind of like the way he goes about it. I'm just like, oh, I could.
You're like, I love them.
I could,
love
you know,
this.
sit here listening to someone overdose on codeine.
Yeah, and you're like,
and I'm like, that's pretty cool. That's
love
really nice.
it.
I like that.
Yeah.
But
it's
yeah.
Euphoria.
It is. And then we were also talking briefly. I'm just gonna bring this up.
Sure.
He released a new song. I don't know when. I think it may have been like at least
Very recently.
Called Francesca.
Mm-hmm.
I listened to it.
I haven't heard it.
And it was very similar to Through Me, where it was like in my opinion, slow build up.
Yeah.
Into like a grander kind of chorus and continuing with the song. Like the build up was worth it.
Yeah.
Which again, this is 2 songs that he's done that with now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it works. I think it works for him. Again, we were talking about this. It was a slow build up.
Absolutely was a slow build up, and then it just hit you in the face.
It was just so.
It's just.
So good when it kicked in. Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Ethereal.
I'm trying to think what else was that really was going on with this album. I heard some of these songs on the radio. Actually, matter of fact, driving around. I've heard "Eat Your Young" on the radio.
You've heard it on the radio already.
That's heard it on the radio.
Wow.
I barely listen to radio anymore. I have Spotify and everything.
That's crazy.
Most people do.
Right.
But yeah, heard it on the radio, and I was like, "That's nice." I got to hear some Hozier on the radio.
Oh my god.
But yeah, I don't think there was any. There's not much else. I mean,
there's not much else.
Short.
Right, it was short and sweet. They're like 4 minutes each. It was 3 songs. You're only spending about 12 minutes listening to, but it's 12 minutes of this comprehensive, just reminder of why Hozier is Hozier, where he comes from, what he specializes in, all wrapped into a little package. Yeah, and it's a return. Really it's kind of a retrograde. It's a return back to who he was, which is cool. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I hope the album continues with that. Like,
yes.
If the album is going to be like exactly like his debut album, that would be so
He needs to play in more subways.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Do an entire Subway concert.
That would be so cool.
That would be so
oh,
good.
my God.
And someone needs to film it because we don't live in New York.
No, we don't.
I won't be able to see it. But
no, we ain't city boys. But yeah.
Yeah, that's really it to talk about. We only had to do a short one just because, again, we were listening to a lot of albums, so we decided to go for
we need a little break, a fast.
But yeah. That was that. So we're going to get to our movie section next.
Here we go.
So stay tuned. Welcome on to the movie segment hosted by just me because I watched a movie that the crew didn't watch. So I figured I might as well just do this on my own so I can talk about it. So it's another solo movie review. But I'm excited about this one because I watched this one and I didn't really know what to go in with. I didn't know what to expect with this movie. And the movie being Sisu. So I forgot to mention the name, but the movie Sisu. The movie I'm talking about is Sisu. And I went in to go see this movie, and I went to the theater, and it was really good. I walked out like really happy with this. So basically, if you don't know, Sisu is just. I have the description up here. It's basically John Wick in World War II. Like, picture that. Like, John Wick, full-blown action hero, uses weapons all the time, defeating everybody in his path, absolute mayhem, but in World War II. And it's about basically, like, this Finnish, from northern Finland, this Finnish guy, prospector, who ends up finding some gold, and then some Nazis show up, and the Nazis try and take his gold. And then he just basically goes on this killing rampage, fighting off all these Nazis in this beautiful landscape of northern Finland, which I imagine is where they filmed this movie. I just, just based off of the area, it didn't seem like anything around the United States, anything around there. And I don't really know a lot of, landscapes of countries, I guess, but I'd imagine they filmed this movie in Finland, just based off of, again, this is supposed to be a Finnish movie, basically. But it was amazing. It was so good. I was so blown away by this. It was only about an hour and 30 minutes long, but for what they did in the movie, it feels like forever. Like, there's so much that happens in this movie, and it's just like prime action stuff that happens, and it's so great to watch. I loved it. The main character here, I have the cast up in front of me, but I'm probably going to butcher some of these names just because I'm not used to some of these, spellings and stuff like that. The actor is Jorma Tommila, and the character he plays, who's the main character, this prospector, is Atami Korpi, I think is how you say that. I could be completely off. If I butchered it, I apologize. But he was brilliant. This actor here, Jorma Tommila. No, sorry, Jorma Tommila. Jorma Tommila was brilliant as just this regular prospector, action star kind of character, and he doesn't even talk for most of the movie. Like, most of this movie is mostly just all the other characters talking, and this main character stays silent, right? But only towards the end he says a couple of words when he actually reaches the bank with his gold, because of course he does, because he makes it out of this crazy scenario. I mean, this actor was so good without even saying any words in this movie, or barely any words in this movie. He was so cool. I loved his facial expressions, how he got angry when the Nazis pulled up and were trying to take his gold and stuff like that. Like, brilliant, so brilliant. And as well as, let me see here. Oh, Bruno, who's the villain here. So the actor is Axel Henny. Again, I might be saying that wrong. I probably am. And the villain name, the character name is Bruno Heldorf. And he's like the main Nazi character who's the villain. And he was also brilliant. He was so cool to watch on screen. I mean, it'd be kind of weird to say that he played a Nazi really well, but he played a good military villain, I guess you could say that. And he did seem like a viable, like a legitimate threat to Jorma Tommila's character in this movie. Like, it was an actual, like, it wasn't just like he stayed back and had all of his guards go and, fight the main character. He actually, at the end, got to have his hand-to-hand combat fight within a plane at the end of the movie. And I loved that. It was so good. But, regarding, I haven't even gotten to the action moments, which is just absolutely what makes this movie so incredible. The action moments are brilliant. They're so good. So good. I mean, there's so many different action sequences, because, again, this is mostly just an action movie, that I probably don't remember them all. But, ones that stood out in particular were when the main character here, again, Jorma Tommila's character, when he first encountered a smaller group of Nazis, and basically he just got, like, angry and pulled his knife and, like, stabbed his knife through a guy's, like, cheek, and it's like through his face on the side, and just, like, he stood there for a minute, like stunned, I guess, and then he fell over, and then, like, they just had a huge fight. So cool. I don't know exactly what the budget for this movie was. 6 million, I'd imagine that's euro, that's in front of it. So that's probably, it's not a lot of money for what they did here. I feel like they used their budget really well. I mean, I think the tank that they had that the Nazis drove around on was pretty cool, as well as the plane towards the end of the movie. I thought was really cool. There was a whole sequence basically within this giant fighter plane where the main character and the villain character had, like, their final fight. It was within a plane. And then what was so great, and I guess comedic in a sense as well, was that basically the main character, the hero character, Atami Korpi, hooked Bruno Heldorf onto, like, I forget what was it, a bomb? I think it was a bomb. I think it was a bomb that would typically drop from a plane. He hooked him onto it and then dropped it, and basically the villain dies by nuke, from being stuck to a nuke, or not to a nuke, but stuck to a bomb that would come out of a plane, and then he blew up, and it was just, it was so crazy. It was just a crazy action movie, over the top, and it doesn't take itself too seriously, which I love. It knows what it's doing. Like, it's super goofy, and it knows it's goofy, and I really do appreciate that a lot, because it's like, it was almost, in some cases, I thought, like a comedy action movie. Not necessarily, though. What I mean by that is, like, some of the action was just so over the top and so crazy to just watch that I was just like, oh my god, I found myself laughing a little bit, being like, oh my god, that's crazy, like so surprised and stunned at this thing that I'm just watching, and it was so brilliant. Another action sequence that got me going, I was like, oh my god, that's crazy, there was a scene where basically the main character, Tommy Corpy, doused himself in like flammable oil, and then or gasoline. Was it gasoline? It may have been gasoline. And then when the Nazis showed up, they had attack dogs that were going to come after him, and instead of like facing them, because he definitely couldn't, he would have died, he took a match and flicked it, and it caught his entire body on fire. His whole body was on fire, in flames, engulfed in flames. And then the dogs started coming after him, were afraid of the flames, and he jumped in the ocean to try and like save himself. It was one of the craziest things I think I've ever, like, it was so wild, because like not even John Wick does that. John Wick has never set himself on fire to escape an enemy. But like it was just crazy. I just found, again, that was another moment where I just found myself like laughing, I guess, because I was just so stunned at what I was watching. But yeah, that whole sequence was crazy, where he was like swimming in the ocean. He killed a bunch of guys in an ocean like that were on a boat. He just started slicing them. The knife work was just crazy in this sequence. One of the first action sequences where he was fighting a smaller group of Nazis. He had a knife and he was just going to town on one of these Nazi enemy characters, and it was just so crazy. It was so wild to just watch all of his craft, I guess, unfold. And then they kind of did like the John Wick idea, where they basically explain like he's this Finnish corporal or something like along those lines that was like this old military guy, right? And he decided to leave his military life behind. I think it was because of his wife died or something along those lines. And but he still like retained his ability. Like he's a scary character who's a formidable Finnish military leader, who was trying to drive out the Nazis and such. So it was very, very crazy to watch and just see unfold with everything, because he was just such a brutal character with such impressive combat ability. And again, they kind of went with the John Wick route, where they explained how he was almost like a boogeyman, right? Like he was like he's a name that is talked about and you should fear his name, that kind of thing. Very similar to John Wick, where he was a boogeyman. This character, Tommy Corpy, is like trying to think of the name. He's like a legend. His name is legendary, in that he's this very powerful and very strong Finnish military leader who gave up to go prospect and look for gold. And when he found gold and got his stolen, then you start facing his wrath, right? So yeah, that was very cool. And then I'm trying to think. There was another thing I wanted to mention. Oh yeah, there was like in the beginning there was some really cool historical, I guess, historical information that was brought in towards the beginning of this movie, where they explained that I guess like in Finland, Finland was like made an agreement with, I think, the Soviet Union to work to push Nazis out of their country and like towards where the Soviet Union was, or something along those lines. I don't remember exactly. I did see this movie a little while ago, like a couple days ago, so I don't remember all the details to a point, but regardless, it was very interesting. I liked how they kind of prefaced the movie with this historical significance about thinking, it's just going to be some sort of military movie about some soldier who's like really powerful or really strong, but it actually ended up being, somewhat of the opposite, where it was more like a retired or kind of like a military soldier who kind of left behind that life and decided to go off and do stuff on his own, and just seeing like how he was threatened, and then he, responding to the threats. It was very interesting, and I loved watching it. Again, all the actors and actresses on screen were really cool. The action sequences, of course, were the highlight of the movie. They were so brilliant. I mean, there was another action sequence. I know I keep kind of rambling on here, but another action sequence where basically he drove on a motorcycle to catch up to a plane that was like coming at him, and then he used his pickaxe that he used to get gold with to hook into the plane, and that's how he got onto the plane. A flying plane, mind you, to get into the plane and actually have a fight with the main villain at the end. It was just crazy. Like, there was so much over-the-topness, and again, they didn't take it too seriously. Like, they knew it was a little bit like this would never happen, but they just had fun with it. Like, it seemed very clear that they just had a lot of fun with this movie, and I appreciate that so much. Like it really did shine. And again, I went into this movie because I was just bored one day. I was like, I'm gonna go see a movie. Went in this movie with zero expectations. Came out of the movie theater, and I was like, that was so good. I loved that movie. It was so good. I mean, I would love to see a sequel. I don't know if it necessarily set up for a sequel. I don't know if it's necessarily a movie that needs a sequel. But if they want to franchise it, like, could you imagine, if you have seen this movie, a Sisu and John Wick crossover movie would be amazing. Like, imagining that would be so cool. But I'm just saying in general, I think this movie could get a sequel if it wanted to. I don't know, again, if it needs one. Not that it doesn't deserve it, but does it need one? I don't know. I just feel like maybe this could stand alone as just a single movie that was well-liked among most people that saw it. I'm looking at the Rotten Tomatoes score just as an example, 95%. That's a very high percentage, and that's a very good percentage. And again, for such a seemingly small budget of $6 million, which is not a crazy amount of money for a full-blown movie, what I think they did with it, I thought was really good. Like, what they did with it was really cool. And again, the beautiful scenery when it comes to the landscape that they filmed on, which again I'd imagine was in Finland somewhere. It was so lovely looking because it was all like shot in it seemed like a valley of some sort. Was kind of where everything kind of happened, and then obviously they moved towards the end of the movie. They moved towards the plane and stuff. But it was so nice. It's such a beautiful looking movie. Very nice area. And great action sequences, great acting all around. I didn't know what I was going to get into when I walked into this movie, and I'm so glad I did see this movie because I feel like I would have missed out if I didn't. But that is my review of Sisu. That is the movie segment. And go see this movie if you haven't, especially if you're a John Wick fan. This is very much along the same lines as John Wick, so I'd imagine you're going to appreciate it just as much as I did. But that is really it for me on the movie segment. We're going to close out this podcast